right, everybody, welcome on in. NorCal Sports Network. Welcome you in after some Monday Night Football. Doggone Chiefs did it again. They'll go into their bye week 5-0, waiting for the Niners. And we just want to thank you for being here. NorCal Sports Network, as we're heard right here on YouTube, also on X, formerly Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, and more. And we'd like to thank our sponsor of the show, Chapman Law Group in Marin. Chapman Law Group is a full-service civil litigation practice based out of Marin County. They represent clients throughout California in federal and state courts in matters of real estate, trust, litigation, business and environmental law, bankruptcy, personal injury, and general litigation. Give Chapman Law Group a call at 415-613-9483 and let them know that NorCal Sports sent you. Thanks very much, Chapman Law Group. All right, guys. Let's get right to it. As the chat says, who's going to be the next general manager of your San Francisco Giants? What do you guys say?
I vote Brian Sabian. Let's do it. Let's get him in here. Lou, who's your guy?
Well, I'm a little,
we were a little late, by the way.
I'm a little bit worried about if it isn't Brian, and maybe they can't bring him on because the Yankees are still in it. It's been a week. The announcement was last Monday. We've heard now nothing during the playoffs. So that either means they've decided Brian's the man and they can't announce it since the Yankees are still in, or they don't have a clue.
Yeah, I'm wondering with the whole thing with Brian is he's a special assistant.
Yeah.
I mean, can't he be announced as have an interview? I don't know how that works. I don't know.
And that's suspicious. It's been a week because the press conference was on Tuesday.
Yeah, it was a week ago Tuesday, correct. And
we had our show on that Monday. Hey, my God, Farhan's gone. They're going to bring Posey on. Yeah. And now nothing.
Oh, the only word I heard in this whole thing was David. How do you say his last name? I always want to call him Kraft, but it's Croft. What is it? Frost. Yeah, Frost. Yeah. Fraud, whatever. Fraud.
Forced. Is it forced?
Forced. Yeah, forced. I always get that screwed up. Forced said that no one's contacted him about Billy Owens being in the a request for an interview. So who knows what that means?
But the Giants are just up to their tricks. It gives
they don't know
tactics. It wouldn't surprise me. Let's put Buster out. It gives us a little time. The fans now can relax, and then we'll see what happens. That probably is the Giants' way, where they just don't know.
We've heard Billy Owens' name being thrown around a lot. I mean, I think Posey threw his name around. Greg Johnson's thrown his name around. A bunch of people in the media have thrown his name around. It's really interesting how David Forst says that the Giants haven't interviewed him or requested to interview him. And I don't know if he's telling the truth. He could just be lying to us. He could be lying to everybody, and they are interviewing him. But to me, when Posey said, and he's emphasized this as their main priority, that he wants someone with a scouting background.
Yeah.
Billy Owens does have a scouting background, but he's not in charge of development. We looked at it the other day, you, Dan, Lou, and me, at the A's general managers, and the A's have 3 assistant general managers. Billy Owens is the general manager. He's the director of player personnel. He's not the development guy. That is Rob Neighborhouse. So if it's going to be someone with the A's, that's my guess. It's not going to be Billy Owens. I don't think so. If it is going to be someone with the A's, I would put my money on Rob Neighborhouse just because he's the guy that's developing these guys.
Yeah. How about
and
this
the
guy?
A's have proven to have some young talent.
How about this guy, Los's guy? Carlos Rodriguez. Not to be confused with Carlos Rodriguez of NBC Sports Bay Area. Or that's Ramirez.
God.
That's Ramirez.
He's horrible.
Yeah, I know. Let's not
Marbles, get that retainer out of your mouth. You're 30.
He's a current assistant general manager of the Tampa Bay Rays. As hinted at above, owners will always take interest in front offices that succeed despite financial limitations. That helps explain how the Rays have churned out a number of general managers and candidates in recent years. Rodriguez, for his part, previously oversaw the Rays' international scouting wing, and he also has experience on the player development and performance science side of things, and even has played collegiately back in the day. He's been connected to a few openings, including with the New York Mets in 2021. You know, what's also interesting about this is I read about another guy that is with the Astros, and I'll pull his name up here in a minute, but I wanted to have you guys take a look. I thought this was a really interesting article, and this is nope, that's the wrong one. Hold on.
While you're looking at that, I have a question. So we keep talking about like Owens with the A's. How do we not know that he has a 2 or 3 year contract with the A's?
It doesn't matter if you
sort of get him for a player to be named later, like they do with managers, or
Nah, it's not really so much that as if it's a promotion, every major league organization generally will not hold back a guy. If he's an assistant GM and he's going to be named GM, that's a promotion, and you can't really, he'll get more money, and his contract will just be voided out with the A's.
Okay. Aaron Law said, according to Susan Slessor, Bobby Evans is in the mix too. I could see that as a possibility. I mean, Bobby Evans has history working with the minor leaguers and player development. He was director of the minor leagues, right? He was director of minor leagues operations in 98. So he has experience with development.
Why don't you call him up, Dan? You got his number.
Yeah, we can call him, get him on here. Hey, here's something. Maybe Boro could be the hitting coach,
right?
There's a thing that they say when you have a tendency, sometimes if you go too far in politics to the left, then you end up going too far to the right or vice versa. And are the Giants going to try and go too far back to the past and recapture the past instead of maybe looking outside the organization for some successful organizations? Like, take a look at the power rankings from Bleacher Report. This was a while back, but they ranked the power ranking every Major League Baseball's front office. Now, this was January of 23, so it's a little outdated, but the Astros were – now, this isn't the one I wanted. Okay. Nope. Sorry, guys. This is the wrong one I'm looking at. There was one that was a little.
Dan just kicked himself out of the stream.
Thanks for coming.
We'll see you later. I mean, Lou, who would be your number one choice? Would it be Sabian?
I'd rather get somebody new because I don't really, baseball's changed so much in the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I think we got to get somebody that is fresh, hungry, and believes in its ability than where it was before. I mean, maybe, as Dan has said before, Sabian might be great just for maybe 2 years. But let me ask you this. With his training for 2 years, are the Giants going to be better in 2 years? We have so many holes. I'd rather get someone fresh, and then we can all learn together.
Yeah.
I like that, yeah.
Here's what I found. What are the top 10 front offices in Major League Baseball? Here's how 40 executives voted. This is from The Athletic. and this was put out this year. So it's based, on this season, 2024. Look at this. The Rays, there they are. Look at that. Dodgers, Rays, Braves, Guardians, Orioles, Brewers, D-backs, Rangers, 20 votes. Twins, let's see how many votes the Giants got. Yankees, Phillies, Mariners, Astros, Tigers, Mets, Reds. Where's the Giants? I cry foul.
Not one vote.
I'm crying foul. This is rigged. Where is Farhanian? Look at that. Here's the 284 votes. 19 out of 40 people voted for the Dodgers. And you look at, and then Tampa Bay.
Tampa every year. God.
Yeah. They just, and they don't pay out anything, and yet they continue to be competitive. It's too bad they lost
the openers.
It's too bad they lost Wander Franco, because that really hurt them. He was like, Wander Franco was a top 10 player, gonna be.
Yeah.
Then you got the Braves. There's some guys you can pick over there. Were the Astros in there?
They've had
Baltimore.
To be.
Baltimore's, with Mike Elias.
When is this from?
April of this year.
Okay.
Cleveland.
Matt Arnold, Arizona Diamondbacks. I like Mike Hayes and what he's done. He's done really good, and he's
he turned down to run.
How about
Boston?
The Twins? The general manager there, Thad Levine, just resigned. Maybe he's a guy. President of Baseball Ops, Derek Falvey. The word culture comes up in the discussions about the Twins, who have been helmed by President of Baseball Ops Derek Falvey and General Manager Thad Levine since the fall of 2016. People like working in the front office. Players like the atmosphere inside the clubhouse, fostered by manager Rocco Baldelli. He might be available. That's a guy that just resigned from the Minnesota Twins last week.
But that means two people. That means two spots are now open. Besides the Giants.
No, he could become the general manager of the Giants. He's already a general manager.
Okay.
So he's not even an assistant.
Jeremy Shelley's the assistant GM, right?
Yeah, he's assistant.
And he's not going anywhere?
I don't think so.
So they only need one position in the front office, pretty much. It's the GM's position that's vacant.
Right. And if they promoted him, they'd need somebody else to step up.
Mm-hmm. I would see my preference is kind of like you have Posey at the helm. He's new. You don't have a GM. You have Jeremy Shelley, who's been here for how many years? Just get rid of him and clean house. Start all over. Grow as a team. I'm going to
get rid of all the dead wood.
Exactly. Just get rid of everybody and start off brand new and build this thing together.
Why keep them? They weren't winning with the other guys.
Right? Exactly.
Right. People have been asking, where's Robert Rothberg? Robert is a regular season guy, I think, for the most part. He's not too much into what's happening in the offseason until guys start getting signed.
Maybe he needed a break from us.
Maybe he did. You know what? I got to go take an allergy pill. My eyes are getting watery. I'll be right back.
No, I mean, Jeremy Shelley, he's been with the organization a long time.
Yeah.
And I don't know exactly when he first arrived, but they haven't been a winning organization in 8 years. Last time they went to the playoffs in 21, but I'm just going to discount that season because that was Posey, Crawford, and Belt. Since 2016, they haven't been a good team. They really haven't been a good team. And it's just been more or less the same. It's been the farm system. If the farm system doesn't produce, then you're just not going to be a good team. Your farm system is the heart and soul of your organization and team. And if you don't have a good farm system, that's why they've put Farhan in. And he was brought in to to replenish the farm system, and obviously they didn't do great. They didn't do a great job there. They should have cut bait a little earlier. They held on to him for 6 years.
When the best time to cut him was after year 4, because after the 22 season, even though they won in 21, he tried to patch things together. 22 was falling apart. He didn't trade Rodon. That's when I wanted him gone. I was like, okay, you got to trade him. And he let him walk, and he did nothing then to make the change. And I started calling for he wasn't fit. And then they let him go another year and another trade deadline. And then this year, they finally got rid of him. But, Jeremy is from Concord. Wow. Well, heck, hire him then. I'm from Concord. Born and raised, Concord, California. Changed my mind.
From the area.
Put Jeremy Shelley as the general manager. We'll have Concord Day. Yeah, we'll have Concord Day. Maybe I can get a front office position. Go, Jeremy.
Yeah. I think, you guys just brought up a great point. We brought Farhan in to basically help our minor league system and our youth. And every trade deadline, he had a chance to improve it by trading guys we knew weren't coming back, and he didn't do it one single time.
Correct.
Let's go through it. Okay, 2022, right? He didn't get rid of Rodon. Was there anybody else that he could have gotten rid of that he didn't?
I'd have to look at the 2022 roster.
Just from the top of our heads. It's Rodon, right? Okay, 2022 is Rodon. Last year, Dan, you and I were saying this, Eric was saying this, Los was saying this. Get rid of Alex Cobb and Wilmer Flores. Those were two guys who were having great seasons.
Great years.
Alex Cobb was 36, I think. Wilmer Flores, not that far behind. Wilmer Flores was their best hitter last year. I think he had 22 home runs.
23, I think.
23. He had his best season in his career last year, and that was a golden opportunity to trade him.
We said sell high. They wouldn't do it.
Golden opportunity. Sell high, buy low, sell high. What Low says all the time. They didn't sell high. Weren't they?
Just those three. That's at least 5 good prospects.
Exactly, and then
more.
this year they had the opportunity to get rid of Snell. We could see it. We saw that they weren't going to be a good team the rest of the way. They traded away Soler and they traded away Alex Cobb. It's kind of obvious when you see what they actually did that they weren't looking to win. I mean, everybody wants to make the playoffs, but they were more caught up in cutting ties with their money.
Yep.
If you're just going to give away Soler and Alex Cobb, who could have helped you down the stretch, and who Jorge Soler has a proven run of hitting in the postseason. He was the World Series MVP. Exactly. You traded him away, and he was your hottest hitter at the time. He was your hottest hitter. He was just starting to get it going. Exactly. That leadoff spot was doing wonders for him because he didn't have to hit with runners in scoring position. So the trade deadline was really the detriment of Farhan, in my opinion. The farm system didn't produce, but the trade deadline was really it. Because if your farm system isn't producing, then you have to find other ways to replenish your farm system. And that's by making trades. That's why trading away older veterans who are on expiring deals to bring in young talent. And that's what he hasn't done. And when you don't have a good farm system, you need to do that. You need to make some trades. And he could only make trades with Seattle. That's the only team he could make trades with. He couldn't make trades with any other team.
I know, crazy.
It's ridiculous.
And wasn't that because isn't somebody in Seattle used to be in our front office?
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, the 2021 trade deadline, it was down to the wire, and they got Chris Bryant because of Scott Harris.
Down to the wire, and he gets like 1 minute before he gets Chris Bryant, but that was with the help of Scott Harris. He would have never been able to get it done without Scott Harris and his relationship with the Cubs.
Exactly, and then you can look at what he didn't get rid of, and what he didn't bring in his prospects. And fine, if you're not going to do that, if you're not going to sell, then you might as well buy. And what did he buy the past 2 years? AJ Pollock and Mark Canha. Those were the two big trade deadline acquisitions.
AJ Pollock was what, 3 days?
I don't even know. Did he?
He went on the IL or something, and then he was like
3 days.
It was ridiculous. Everyone said it at the time. Like, what are we doing? We're trying to win, and you're not trying to sell, so you might as well buy. And Dan, you brought up the point a couple of shows ago. It's like, what if people didn't want the prospects that we had? I can see to some extent. I can see that to some extent if we're talking about actual stars. But if we're talking about 1-year rentals and players that can just help the team grow a little bit, you could have gotten rid of some guys. I mean, those guys are there to be had.
Absolutely. They could have done a lot of things there.
There's Robert.
Where's Robert? Robert Rothberg. He's in. All right, Robert, there he is. Posey is well aware of what happened in the past. His role is to make radical changes. Very good.
I agree, but can he make those changes? That's the big question.
Yeah, that is the big question.
Can he make the changes? And Dieter seems to think he can't make the changes. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'll say that again. It all starts with the GM. Everybody just wait for the GM to be hired. When that GM is hired, then we can start calling some people out. Then we can start talking about going the next year and talking about free agents. But before that, before the playoffs even end, we can't talk about any of that just because we don't know who's going to be here and who's not going to be here.
Yeah, exactly. Let's look at the chat, see if we've got anything. I see something from Matthew. He did trade with the Braves frequently. He was basically giving away players in salary dumps. So, yep. If Farhan did trade away Bumgarner, Crawford, and Belt, the Giants fans will want him to get fired early than this offseason. Yeah, he might have been able to rebuild it, though, if he would have. But they never get it out of vision. That's the problem. Tom Wilson. Okay. It looks maybe a little new. I'm not sure if he's been with us before, but he says, hey, guys, glad you're on. Best show on Giants. I try to watch them all. Okay. Well, thanks, Tom. Appreciate that. What else we got here? We cannot depend on free agents. Ben says most of them ages above 30. Yeah, I don't like signing a lot of guys over 30. We've done that. And unless they're, I like Aaron's comment. Could you, oh my gosh, if I had to go to work every day, hey, Dan, can I make this trade?
What are your top 5 free agents, Dan?
Who's your top 5 guys you're looking for today, Dan? I don't know, Chardall. That's your job. Go find them.
I mean, but going back to the previous comment about the free agents, where we can't depend on free agents, that's exactly right. And you can't depend on free agents, you can't depend on trades, and you can't depend on the farm system all at once. You have to supplement everything together. You have to have some guys from the farm, you have to make some trades, and you have to acquire some free agents. I mean, to me, if Farhan signs one of the major free agents, if he had signed let's just say he signed Aaron Judge, right? We're looking at this team a lot differently, and Farhan's probably still involved. And one of the reasons why he's not with the team is because he couldn't get that done. He couldn't sign the Aaron Judges. He couldn't sign the Bryce Harpers, all the major free agents.
So let me ask you guys this: is with Farhan out of the way, and Aaron Judge is coming to the Giants. Buster was in the room at the time, or at some point, trying to woo him. If it's just Buster, and Buster's doing the negotiations, and maybe he has, I don't know, Logan Webb up there, Matt Chapman trying to woo him, and it's just Buster, and Buster's says, what is it going to take? and judge agent says, I don't know, give us your best offer. And Buster throws out 400, 10 years instead of 360, 10 years. Does Judge come or does he go back to the Yankees?
He doesn't come. He doesn't come.
So what really is Buster going to do with all these stars?
I mean, that's a good point. You can't expect Buster to just go out and be that great negotiator, and just because Buster's in the room no longer Farhan, that these guys are going to want to sign here. I think it does help that Buster's gone out and said and has said, like, we want to change the culture of this team. We will rely on analytics because analytics is here to stay, but we also want to go back to our roots and how it was with Belt, with Crawford, with Pence, with Pablo, with Timmy, with Matt Cain, with Bumgardner, with all these guys. And the clubhouse and the culture of those teams, the championship teams, was great. I mean, it was a great culture. It was a great clubhouse. And that's what happens when you win world championships. And that's what happens when you're a winning team. Most of the time, your culture is really good, whatever that culture is. And that might help free agents, just because I think, honestly, free agents were kind of turned off with the culture here and how Farhan micromanaged everything and how Kapler was managing. So I think a tandem of Buster and Bob Melvin is going to be good for morale and for marketing a little bit. But at the same time, it's like, who are your 9 guys out in the field? It's not great. I mean, right now it's Logan Webb, it's Patrick Bailey, it's Lamont Wade, it's Casey Schmidt, it's Tyler Fitzgerald, Matt Chapman, Jung Hoo Lee, Elliot Ramos, and Grant McCrae, maybe Mike Yastrzemski. I mean, that's not a playoff team. That's not a playoff rotation.
Not even 500.
Exactly. So
no, it's going to need a major rehaul. And
exactly. And I don't
rehaul, overhaul. It's I don't know if overhaul is the right word, but it needs retooling in the sense that there's really nothing on the farm that's going to ignite this team next year. Bryce Eldridge is a possibility to either start the year with the club or make his debut at some point next year. But you can't go into the season banking on Bryce Eldridge to get you to the playoffs.
No, he's not. You cannot go into Dan. You can't go into the season and saying, you know what, Bryce Eldridge, you're going to carry us to the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, it's not Buster 2010. You know, a little different. Buster was, an All-American, Florida State, and it's a different type of game. What they're going to expect if Eldridge was to come up would be, yes, I'm going to the fall league, Jake. Jake, Giants are a joke, says Dan. You going to the fall league? Absolutely.
Take some videos of Eldridge.
Yes, I will. That's starting here in today, or might have started up today. I got to look at the league schedule. Still too hot to go right now. Doggone it. Cool down, please. It's like in the hundreds still.
Lou, what was it today in San Francisco?
Today's the last day. It was 87, but over the weekend, in fact, I don't know if you guys saw how hot or any of the highlights of the 49er game.
Mm-hmm.
It was 97 at the start. It got up to like 114 because of the field and everything. So a lot of the fans on the sunny side went to the souvenir concession stand, sat on the cement, and watched the game on TV.
I saw that picture.
It's a ridiculous stadium.
Horrible.
It's like, why you would design and sit your my cousin's seats are over on that side on the 50-yard line, and I've sat in them, but I went on a Sunday night game. But when I was going to pick my tickets, they were going to be underneath in the end zone. I was going to have no sun at all on me. Look, if I want sun, I'll go lay out in the sun. I don't want to go watch a football game with the sun just baking right on me. I don't even care if it's 85. It's too hot to sit at 85 degrees, especially with a bunch of people around you sweating and all that stuff. Forget that. They should be looking to put another. I wish they would have built in San Francisco. Just tore down Candlestick and rebuilt it. It's a great place for football. Wasn't great for baseball because baseball's in the summer and it's windy in San Francisco. The best months in San Francisco is October.
Indian summer.
Yeah, you get beautiful weather like you guys got yesterday. 95. If that game was at Candlestick yesterday, it probably would have been 87, 88, right? Would have been about 7 degrees cooler than Santa Clara.
Probably, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, you could have you had the place, tear down or, build it in the parking lot and then tear down Candles, and then, I don't know. There's a lot of things they could have done. But,
going back to the Giants, though, I just thought of this past couple of days, and let me get your guys' intake on this, because I know, Dan, you think this is going to be a 4th place team next year, maybe even 5th place, because the Rockies are slowly getting better. But I think we can all agree they're not going. There's a good chance that they're not going to be a playoff team next year, right?
Oh yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it.
Exactly. So part of me wants to think that maybe it would be better if Posey went out and just didn't get any free agents and just kind of built this team from the ground up and said, you know what, we're going to play our guys. We're going to play Luciano. We're going to play Matos. We're going to play Schmidt. We're going to play Fitzgerald all next year, and we're just going to see what they got. Because how old is Casey Schmidt? Is Casey Schmidt already 26?
26, I believe.
Marco Luciano is, 23 already?
Is he 23 or 24? 23, I think.
I think he's 23, and then Luis Matos is, 22?
Somewhere right there, yeah.
They're not old, but they're not super young. I mean, 22 is still young, but at some point you gotta find out what these guys have, and they all have tools. They all have talent to get it done at the major league level. Johnny says play McRae too. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, McRae's gonna have to cut down his strikeouts, but I mean, give him a chance. Just give him some time. Give him a month. Give him a month or two, and just let him see what he can do. Because if you sign these free agents and a bunch of these free agents, these older free agents, I mean, Willie Adames is 29.
You're just prolonging the inevitable. You're going to be mid again. The only way
you might be great, you might be good or great for a couple years, but after these guys get old, after Matt Chapman gets old,
if they get Soto and like an Adames, and Willie Adames by himself does nothing for this team.
It does nothing.
He does nothing. If you're going to sign Willie Adames, you've got to have either Teoscar. You have to have 2 of the 3: Teoscar, Santander, and Soto. You got to have, because or you need to make a trade for a first baseman. I'm not opposed to getting Vladdy, because people say, "Well, I don't want to block Eldridge." Well, you know what? You can find ways. Get the guys and then figure it out. Stop trying to plan and say, "Oh, we can't get him because we'll block him." Look what you just did to Casey Schmidt. You blocked him. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now you got to figure out what you want to do with Casey Schmidt. You could either give him a shot at shortstop as the everyday shortstop, or you can make a trade for him. But, you can't be. It's a good problem to have when you have too many. Look, the 49ers had Joe Montana and Steve Young. They figured it out, okay? They figured it out. And the Green Bay Packers had Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. They figured it out, okay? Teams figure it out when you have a plethora. The Giants had Willie McCovey and Orlando Cepeda at one time. They didn't figure it out because they gave away Cepeda for Ray Sadecki. They could have got a lot more, but the Giants didn't know what they were doing back then. I personally, back then Willie was playing left field and it just wasn't ideal, but they could have probably made it work for another year or so and let Cepeda play first. But hey, guys, while we have you in here, hit that like and subscribe button. We got a lot of new people in the chat, and would
New blood.
really appreciate you hitting that like and subscribe. If you're watching over on Twitter, I know many of you are. There's probably 70, 80 people watching on Twitter alone. If you would go over to YouTube, hit the YouTube and hit the like and subscribe there, or at least subscribe. We got a lot of people that watch the show. And I know this is true of just about every YouTube show out there that will watch on Twitter and never subscribe. I wish we could put some kind of link to subscribe from Twitter to YouTube. That would be really nice.
We're gonna be covering the Giants offseason all year long. If some trade breaks down, we're gonna be on it. If they sign a free agent, we're gonna be on it. We're gonna be on here when they announce their new GM. So if you want to stick with us for these news updates and everything, subscribe.
Let me check my email. I'm seeing hold on here.
Kyle, while you're doing that, I just want to bring up two things. One, I want to comment on what Boris said. But if you guys remember 3 years ago when Washington was giving up Soto, right? Mm-hmm. And San Diego gave up 6 players. Of course, the thing was the Giants are after him. The Giants are after him. We need a superstar. Washington laughed at what the Giants offered. And that tells you the truth. When other teams laughed, that tells you we didn't have any talent. We never did, and we still don't. So then that brings me to Bora's thing. I think the Giants and Buster need to make a decision.
Yes.
Right? Because we all complained about Farhan, but if Farhan would have done his job 2 years ago and gave the youth an understanding, we would then know out of the 5 youngsters who can really play.
Exactly.
A lot of guys on the chat said, I'm giving up on Matos. Well, guys, until someone bats 400 at bats, you just don't know. A lot of these guys might be having personal problems. Maybe they're out here for the first time where they're making money. They got people after them. There's so much, because baseball is such a mental game. You need to be there, and you need a lot of confidence yourself. If you're going up and down, up and down, up and down, you then don't even know if you can play AAA still or the pros. So I think we really, one of the things, if Buster's going to do anything, let us know exactly what you're doing.
Be transparent.
All I want.
Be transparent to the fans. And those are great points. I would add something. Matos and Luciano, those were 2 of the main guys that were highly touted, right? Luciano's been our number 1 prospect for how many years? Yeah. Matos, when he first came up, was really highly touted. Just from hearing, and I'm not on the inside, I'm on the outside. I'm from a fan's perspective. Just from hearing what the organization was like and the coldness and bitterness of that organization when Farhan was in charge, I wouldn't be surprised if these guys were just kind of on edge all the time and their confidence was just completely diminished.
Absolutely. Their confidence was diminished.
It's not even a question. They didn't know what their roles were. They had no clue what their roles were.
And, I was thinking about this while you guys were talking a few minutes ago. I heard, and we put it out there. I put it out on Twitter, heard that Farhan wanted to rebuild, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking to myself, then why didn't he play Matos, Luciano,
right?
Ramos,
right?
Mitt? Why didn't he play those guys?
Because he's in charge of personnel.
We saw today the Will Clark thing. In fact, we're going to pull that up here and we're going to play that.
Do you want right now, or do you want to do it a little later?
Let's do it right now. Do you have it up, or
I have it up? I can pull it up.
Okay, go ahead and put that up, because if Farhan was making the lineups out, then he certainly had the authorization to play the young guys. Mm-hmm. You can't tell me that the owners were like, tell him, no, you can't play those guys. Here's Will Clark from today on Twitter from
KNBR.
KNBR. Do we need to put courtesy? Hold on. Let's put.
Now, is that him on KNBR or is that his show?
That's a show. It's called No Filter Network.
Yeah, No Filter. So that's Will Clark and then the guy from the A's.
What do we need to put on
Arizona
here?
Diamondback.
Courtesy of who?
I don't think we need to put up anything because it's off Twitter.
Courtesy of.
Just put KNBR and No Filter Network.
KNBR and No Filter.
If you guys don't want to hear cussing, there's going to be cussing in this video, so just be aware. But Will Clark is saying a lot of the things that we've all been saying all season long. So just listen in.
Farhan was the one guy that I heard that was relieved of his duties. I haven't heard about any more changes.
I'm not going to beat on Farhan that bad, okay? But he had his fingers in everything, especially analytics. That's first off. And second off was he made out the lineup, all right? Bob Melvin would want this guy in the lineup. He'd want that guy in the lineup. Farhan would trump him. So you set yourself up because that's Melvin's job. That's the same thing that happened, with Bochy. Bochy would put a lineup in and, we need to scratch this guy. We need to scratch that guy. Look, the reason that these guys have managed in the big leagues for 15, 20 years, they know. Dusty Baker knows, all right? They know exactly what's going on in their clubhouse, and they have gut instincts on things. And you need to stick with their gut instincts. Not everything is statistical. And while I'm talking about that, all of you statistical guys that are in the fucking San Francisco Giants organization, you better watch your ass too, because you fuckers might be gone as well.
Oh shit.
There you go. There's my rant for a little bit.
Will Clark. Oh my goodness. Does he come at you, man? Oh, that's just absolutely hilarious.
That's a fun show.
But to all the guys that were saying and that were arguing back that Farhan was not making the lineup, it's all Melvin. There you have it.
Hey, we called it here. First guy that called it was Los on this show.
Yep.
And I was like, yeah, I think came along. I think you're right as I saw it. Yep. And we definitely, everybody started to see it pretty soon after. Well, some people took a long time to see it in the media, right? So it's, again, NorCal Sports Network, the crew leading the way. Guys, we've been telling you about this Giants club more than anybody. I don't care if we have the numbers that a KNBR or any other radio station or sports writers out there. There's a lot of good sports writers out there. We've had Dieter Kurtenbach on here. I like Dieter's takes. I love his the way he's not afraid.
I love how he has his opinion and he's not afraid.
Yeah, he's not afraid to put it out there, even if it's unpopular. But guys, we told you, I don't know of anybody else that didn't say the Giants were not going to be a good team. I told you from day one, if you go back and look, said the Giants are going to win anywhere. They're going to be in that 500 range, couple games over, a few games under, depending on how things go. Never did I predict they would make the playoffs. I don't think any one of us on our show predicted the Giants would make the playoffs. And we were right. And not that they were, nobody else seemed to get it in the Bay Area. Nobody else in the Bay Area got it right. Calvo Kaminga.
Dan, we kept saying, it would be 84 wins at least to be for the third wild card. And guess what?
You needed 89.
At 89.
Yeah, and 89, if you didn't win the season series, you needed 90.
90. And the Giants, of course.
It's a 90-win team. Yeah.
This team had zero chance to win 90.
I love Lou's story. We're going to have to go back and pull that back. In fact, we might just get that pulled back up here. Calva says, you guys are 100% right. You have to give guys an opportunity to get into a rhythm. If we didn't have injuries to the outfield, Ramos would have never had a shot. Bart never had a chance either. Exactly, Calva. Thanks for the donation. You're 100% correct yourself. They never got a shot. We were calling for this all along. We were the ones yelling for it. It's just like, where's Ramos for the year before? Where's Matos? Where's Luciano? Look, they're going to have struggles. Who doesn't? I mean, what did Kyle Schwarber bat this year? 197? What did
Something
Schwarber
like
hit?
I'll pull it up right now.
Pull up Schwarber. The guy didn't even hit 200. I know he hit a lot of bombs, but it's not like he hit 45. What did he hit? 37, 30? I don't even know what Schwarber's numbers was.
He would lead our team.
He hit 248 this year, but last year he hit 197.
Okay, last year 197. But
he had a really good year this year.
He had more homers last year at 197 than he did this year, though, right?
He had 47 last year and 38 this year.
Yeah, 38. That's right. I got him mixed up. I said, what did he hit? 38, 197. He actually hit 197, 40, 48 homers, and then he hit 248 with them. Yeah, I mean, that's a better year this year. Okay, but last year, guys struggled. My point is, guys do struggle. Okay, it happens. But when you're not a good team, look, it's okay for guys to have an off year if you're on the Phillies and you still make the playoffs because you got guys around you. Giants can't afford to have their stars. Matt Chapman had his best year in a while. And what did he hit? 247 this year?
Mm-hmm.
And he hit, 27 homers? He didn't even drive in 80 runs. How many RBIs did Schwarber hit from the leadoff spot this year?
Okay.
Probably about 87.
He had 104.
Wow. From the leadoff spot, guys. And Matt Chapman could not get 80 RBIs in the 3-4 hole.
Well, Dan, you brought up Elliot Ramos, right? How these guys didn't get a chance. For the people that say, oh, Elliot Ramos got his chance this year and he shined. He didn't get his chance early on.
May 8th he came up.
May 8th. And the only reason he came up because Conforto was injured, Jung-Hoo Lee was injured. Conforto and Jung-Hoo Lee were injured. The only guys ahead of him. So they were forced to bring him up. In spring training, he didn't even get a fair shot to make the team. Farhan kicked him off to the minor leagues in the middle of spring training. He didn't get his fair chance to even make the roster. That's how poor Farhan valued him. And what was last year, right? Farhan said, like one of his end of the year press conferences, oh, I wish I could have gotten Elliot Ramos more at bats, right? This year, it was Marco Luciano. He said, I wish I could have gotten Marco Luciano some more at bats. I mean, if you wish you could have given these guys more at bats, you were the guy who was in charge of getting that done. You should have done that. That's the reason you're not here anymore. I mean, it's been so bad. And I mean, it is roster construction. Exactly.
Yep. It's roster construction. How about Sean Manaea? Louis tells us he's pitching tomorrow. Ex-Giant who
good for Sean
they
Manaea.
mishandled. Farhan mishandled.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't let him pitch. Didn't know what the heck he was doing from day to day. Am I a starter? Am I a long man? Am I an opener? What the heck am I?
Mm-hmm.
And, he hit the road.
He figured it out towards the end of the season, though, once they got him into a supplemented role.
Yeah, he pitched fine.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with the Giants just jacked everybody around. Go ahead, Lou.
Yeah, what I was going to say is the Giants, 2021, they only won so many games because they had 6 guys that had their best year ever in the MLB. If you look, everybody had their great year in 2021. That'll never happen again. That's why the Giants had such a fluke year and everything. With the Giants right now, they would need 8 guys to have their best year for us to make the playoffs. They have nobody consistent. And,
what do you think of this comment here by Drake Grayton? Is that too much to get a true bat?
That's not enough. Not enough. These guys' value is plummeted. They have no value.
By the way, Dreg, you can come back in as Greg, I think. I think you've been
unbanned.
Unlocked. as Greg Dayton unlocked.
Hey, Dan, what I wanted
We've
to
cleaned up our. Hold on, Lou, 1 sec. We've
Yeah.
cleaned up our accounting. We're going Elon Musk. We're going no censorship. Okay, we believe in free speech here at NorCal Sports Network. We're not trying to ban people. So you might get your comments flagged if they're too personal. But you know what? You can call
troll.
us. You can troll, and you can call us clowns or whatever you want to call us, or say our takes are ridiculous. We don't know what we're talking about, but just try to keep it somewhat civil. But we're not here to. We don't want to ban. We want to welcome everybody in. It's a big tent, okay? It's a big tent here at NorCal Sports Network. And
you guys gave me a chance. So
yeah, look,
I'm here. But what the Giants need,
we gave Lou a chance.
Yeah, is someone.
Uh-oh. Don't do that to Lou. No.
Oh, there he is.
What I was
I
going
had to pull a Kruger on you.
That's all right. Earlier in the year, I said who's the best catcher in the American League, and of course, I was questioned. But nobody seemed to realize his team's in the playoffs. They beat the Yankees tonight. But Salvador Perez, I just want to read his stats for the year. Okay?
You
would never know about it because they already have another superstar. 271. He would lead the Giants. 27 homers. 104 RBIs. 160 hits. Batted .329 with runners in scoring position. For a catcher, that's how valuable he is, right? They have a superstar, but the Giants, we all talk about Chapman, how good he was. If Chapman would have had stats like this, where he would have batted, better in running scoring position, more RBIs, hits when it counted, the Giants might have been in the playoffs, but they need players that know the game inside and out. And that's really what we're missing. When you go back, you look at Will Clark. When he was a rook, he knew the game. He had the it factor. Right now, we don't have anyone except hopefully a rookie that has the it factor. We got to get back to basics where, someone was talking about, oh, let's hire this GM because he's from down the street. Forget it. Forget hiring these people that are from the Bay Area or played for the Giants 28 years ago. We need more. That's it.
So who are you taking, guys, there?
Ward's overrated.
The guy on the left.
No.
The guy on the left.
The guy on the left?
Mm-hmm. Not even a question.
Let's see if our NorCal Sports crack staff knows what they're talking about when they say who's the best catcher in the American League.
And look who OPS plus.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if our crack staff knows what we're talking about. Let's see if this show has any credibility calling Salvador Perez the best catcher in the American League. I think we do.
Adley, I'll give Adley Rushman some credit, though. He had a down year. I mean, he started off hot, and the second half of the season, he just dips a lot.
Look at that.
Yeah, Salvador Perez had the better year.
Yeah, there we go.
I'll admit when I'm wrong. Hey, the other thing, Dan, I wanted to bring up is somebody
Lou Marston with another North.
Somebody on the Super Chat brought up a great point. And if I'm in the
Lou.
Giants front office, I'm sort of upset. I don't know if you saw Jeremy's Super Chat.
Jeremy Lopez?
Yeah.
This one? This one here?
No, there's another one at 9:36. People talking about the rivalry between San Diego.
I'll go find it. I'll find it, Dan.
You gonna go digging for it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in the Super Chat. Sorry.
First one there gets it. 9:36.
Oh yeah, I started. Yeah, that's completely right. Jeremy Lopez says, "Damn, people keep saying that San Diego."
Oh,
it's
a hated rival now.
Main
They
rival.
have replaced us. How sad is that?
And you
That's
know what?
a big problem.
I listened to the Manny Machado interview after the game.
I did too.
And you know what he said? He said, this is a rivalry. It's the San Diego LA Dodgers rivalry. And to me, as a Giants fan,
That's sick.
it hurts just because we've been the Dodgers rival for how long? And the Padres haven't been relevant for.
They have no championships.
They have 0 championships. They have nothing. They haven't been relevant in how long? And they just because they know how to develop. And they have AJ Preller at the top who knows what he's doing. They're a great team, and they're in the NL West. And the Giants have been subpar. They've overtaken the Giants, and it's now a rivalry. And the Giants are going to have to do some tough sledding to get back into this rivalry because it's not going to be easy.
And you know what? And Arizona and LA is becoming more of a rivalry.
And Arizona and San Diego too.
The Giants are. Hey. We had the true Mr. Irrelevant who is truly relevant. The Giants are no longer relevant. They are irrelevant in the National League West. They are irrelevant. They are not a team that anybody fears. And it is sad to watch. Now, Buster Posey, he's a guy that sees this. He can turn it around, but don't expect miracles, guys. Don't expect miracles for the first couple years. This is going to take a while. I don't think the Giants realistically are going to be competitive until 2028. Here's why I say this. You've got
a long time.
That's 3 more seasons of rough go. Mm-hmm. I think it's the 4th year now, it can get sooner. It can be as early as, it's possible it could be as early as next year, but things would have to really go their way. They would have to sign a couple of key free agents, make some trades, maybe a Duvall or something, or maybe a Luciano or a Schmidt, a package, and you package Wisenhunt. Look, I know some people
has to be a star.
Some people are looking at Wisenhunt as like untouchable. Come on. Please. People don't want to give up on Carson Wisenhunt. Look, the guy has done nothing yet. Okay. What did Mad Dog Russo say? Prospects are suspects until they're proved otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Look, we can't, you got one. Baseball America, what did they rank Wisenhunt? Was he a tier 2 or tier 3?
I think he was tier 2. I know he was in the top 100 earlier this season, but now he's out of it. So because he got injured. Reggie Crawford was, I don't know if he was in the top 100, but he was their first overall pick a couple years ago. He's done. He is labrum surgery, I think. He's going to be done next year, and there's a good chance he's going to be done the year after that because that rehab is going to be painful and stressful.
Yes.
Dan, I'm in agreement with you. This isn't if they make all the right moves, then we can start talking, but we won't know that until next season comes arise. For them to really press the Dodgers, the Padres, and the D-backs, because remember, no one's talking about the D-backs, and they missed the postseason this year. Didn't they win 89 games?
Yep.
They won 89 games. It's not like they had a bad year. And Corbin Carroll had a down year for the majority of the year. They're young. They are young, and they're going to keep on getting better.
They won 89 games, and before the trade deadline, they were 9 games below 500.
Exactly. You're going to need Bryce Eldridge to come up and contribute. You're also going to need Walker Martin to come up and contribute. You're
going to be a while for him.
Rainer Arias to come up and contribute.
Going to be a while.
It's going to be a while for those guys. But between those guys, between Eldridge and Walker Martin in high A, in double A, even in triple A, there aren't a lot of guys that move the needle. There just aren't. Maybe James Tibbs is that guy and he proves himself next year. I don't think so. I'm skeptical. I know you guys, Dan, you're skeptical. Lou, I don't know. Do you have an opinion on James Tibbs or?
With these young guys, it's really hard to rush them. I think that's one thing. Well, the one biggest problem with the Giants is in the last 8 years, we keep hearing about these studs, but we never see any results.
Exactly.
We never even see them make to the major league. So whatever they were doing You got to do the opposite.
Mhm.
You know, if it means another year, I'm happy with it, because we have this talent that either comes out of high school or college that has such a high ceiling, but we never get a chance to see it. Why? Is it because we rush them, or are we that desperate? I mean, one of the things about the Padres, what they did is they aren't where they at now. They did it overnight. They got one solid B player, and then they signed an A for 10 years. So they got 2 studs. Then the next year, they picked up another stud. Then they picked up another guy, slowly but surely. Then they went all in with their prospects to get Soto. It didn't work out, but then they traded Soto, and they wind up getting the 2 studs in return. You know, they're now in the major league. So I think the one thing is, if we're going to follow anything, I'd love to follow what the Padres have done.
You know, Lou, you bring up a great point, and let me just interrupt you for a second, then you can keep on going. They traded Juan Soto to the Yankees for Michael King, and who was the other pitcher? It was another pitcher, and I forget what the name was, and Kyle Higashioka, right? They bring Michael King in and Kyle Higashioka. They trade that one pitcher to the White Sox with other prospects for Dylan Cease.
Right.
That is AJ Preller thinking 2 moves ahead. I mean, he is a
That's how I run my fantasy teams.
Exactly. That's
and what a stud King is.
Exactly. I mean, King's great,
a stud.
and Cease is great too. So they got 2 pitchers, 2 all-star caliber pitchers for Juan Soto, and they got Kyle Higashioka, who's been producing a lot in the postseason.
Yeah, they got King and Cease.
Yeah, they got rid of, I think it was 5 of their top 8 prospects. So imagine if the Giants did that, because they went for it with Soto. But you know what's amazing? 3 years later, they still got the Rookie of the Year. You know, that tells you the difference. Right now, you know, the Giants in the 60s and 70s and early 80s, we always had the young studs through our farm system. You know, now we might be worse than really, when you really talk about this, we're in a real dire strait. You know, we're going to have to figure out, what are we going to do to just, you know, take baby steps. How can we be 500? All right, no problem. We get there. How are we going to get close or overtake Arizona? And what are we going to do for the 2-headed monster, the Dodgers and the Padres? You know, we need to figure out something. And if you notice, the Padres never complained about their stadium. That place is the hardest ticket in baseball right now. It's going to be rocking tomorrow night.
Oh, it's going to be electric.
It's going to be insane. They had a problem with the stadium. So what did they do? They included the warehouse in the stadium.
Exactly.
You know, all we talk about is, we can't get hitters because of our stadium. Well, you know what's funny this year? If you notice, the Yankees, when they came into town, they hit 6 homers in 3 days.
Exactly.
I don't understand it. So other teams can hit home runs at our ballpark, but we can't. It's pathetic.
Someone typed something really funny in the chat, but Lou, I mean, it's there. Johnny T brought up this comment at 9:56. Look what they did to Luciano. He was hitting 393 with 1,000 OPS, and they benched him because he made a few errors at shortstop. No one was arguing that Luciano wasn't a good shortstop. We knew that he was a bad shortstop. But you know what they were doing while he was starting? They were winning. They were playing winning baseball. They were winning with Ramos.
The longest win streak of the year?
Exactly. They were winning with Ramos. They were winning with Matos, and they were winning with Luciano, even with his errors. So it's like you would rather stunt his development and get him some reps in the minor leagues. You want him to field some balls over you want to win. And it's really bad. It was bad. And then Tyler Burbeck at 9:43. Why not Ha-Seong Kim? I kind of like Ha-Seong Kim just because he fits. I keep on talking about ballpark fit, right? We have a big ballpark. I think it's the 4th hardest ballpark in terms of like home runs or whatever, or hardest places to hit. Ha-Seong Kim would fit our ballpark. He doesn't hit too many home runs. He doesn't strike out a ton. He's a gap-to-gap hitter. And you know what? He's best friends with Jung-Hoo Lee. So I don't see where that could go wrong in terms of the clubhouse and energy and and an excitement among that clubhouse. If you can get him for a low price, then I wouldn't be opposed. And I know he has an injury, he has a labrum injury, I think, and they're considering surgery. If surgery happens and if he's injured, then obviously you don't want him. You don't need to sign him because he's not going to be great. But if he's healthy, I'm saying, then I wouldn't be opposed to signing Ha-Seong Kim.
Yeah, guys. I agree with you, Bora, if he's healthy, but we'll see how that goes. Hey, guys, the show continues to grow. It's over 220 people in the chat between YouTube and Twitter. If you're here joining us, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, please go ahead and do that. It does really help us out. We notice that from our analytics, we get analytics from YouTube, and we look at those. We got a ton of people, and this is very true of all YouTube content creators. The majority of people who watch the show do not subscribe, and it's your prerogative to not subscribe or subscribe, but we would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe. It does help the channel grow. It helps push out the show to more people. With the likes that we get, we were able to do a Cal Miami post-game show. Didn't start the thing till 11:30 on Sunday or Saturday night, guys. 11:30 we started the thing, and it's one of our most viewed shows. We had let me see if I can find it here, and I'll show it to you. Let me just pull this up because it was pretty wild.
And guys, if you don't know, we're Dan, I don't know if I'm going to be there, but Dan, you're going live after every Dodgers Padres game, right?
Correct.
So there's going to be a post-game show after every Dodgers Padres game. If you want to hear some analysis and just watch some NorCal Sports Network about the Dodgers Padres game, look for that.
Yeah, we are putting out a ton of content, guys. Kyle says, I told you, Dan, I can only like once a day and sub once. I get it. Look at this. Hey, look at this, guys. See this Cal Miami post game? 11:30 we started it. Oops, I knew I'd screw that up. Here he goes. Can you guys see that right there?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
2,600 views. 2,600 views we got on that show. And we did another show. I mean,
the Farhan firing.
Come on. We did one with the Dodgers. 24 minutes. Went away again. See this one over here, 24 minutes? 406 views. We did one that was only 16 or 18 minutes on game one. Can't remember. We got like a lot of views, though, for a 15-minute. Here it is. 18-minute show, 911 views, guys. So we're putting out content that people want to watch, and we appreciate you being part of that.
Dan, I just want to bring up baseball playoffs. NHL starts tomorrow. As soon as the baseball playoffs by the World Series, you're going to have NBA. We'll even have a gambling show for the Breeders' Cup. We never stop. So, for basically 2 smart waters, 3 if you go to Walgreens and you can actually get it out of the safe. That's all it costs a month.
Yeah. Hey, and guys, another thing, for being a member, we've got another sponsor here, guys, that we didn't mention. We mentioned Chapman Law Group. We also have the Yogurt Shack in Danville, and in Lafayette, right there, Yogurt Shack, downtown Danville on Harts Avenue, and in Lafayette, Mount Diablo Boulevard. Go check out Yogurt Shack. It's a great place to take your family. You get to fill up your own yogurt cup. You pick a size of a cup you want. You fill up your yogurt. You got choices of about 6 to 8 flavors a day. You got non-dairy. You got gluten-free. You got all kinds of different flavors. And then you go over to the counter with about 50 to 80. I don't know how many toppings there are, but there's a ton. Think of everything you got: Reese's Pieces, Butterfinger, Oreo, cookie dough, fresh strawberries, just any kind of candy you can think you can add on to those into your yogurt, and then you just put it on the scale, pay by the ounce. But you know what Yogurtshack's going to do? Just for becoming a member of NorCal Sports Network, you get $10 in coupons to go into your first visit into the Yogurtshack and enjoy first yogurt. You probably, I don't know how much it probably costs, $5-6 if you fill up a pretty good size one, but it's pretty good stuff, guys. And when you go in, tell them NorCal Sports Network sent you in. So Yogurtshack, a proud sponsor of NorCal Sports Network. So we've got 2 sponsors, and anybody else that wants to sponsor the show, give us a call. We're putting out some great content with a lot of views hitting people. Hey, when you call it right, you start to gain some credibility.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Bora?
Exactly.
I mean, we're going to miss them. Look, we're going to miss them. One of these days, we're going to pick the Giants 4th, and they're going to surprise us all, and they're going to win 95 games and win the division. I don't know. It could happen.
Who knows?
Wake me up when it does, though, because I don't plan on it in the near future. And I don't want to be, I'm not looking to be Nancy negative, okay, with the Giants.
We're just being realistic.
Yeah, it's all we're doing, guys. We're trying to give you a realistic Mark, I got to get you some coupons. You're already a member. So, members, I'm going to send you coupons, too. You'll have to get me guys that I don't know. Send me your address in the send the address to NorCal Sports Network at Gmail. I'll get you some coupons.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And then, Dan, we're also Los and I don't know if Los is going to make it this Wednesday because he's a little under the weather, but Los and I and Dan, sometimes you're on. We do a fantasy football show every Wednesday, I think at around 8:30. So we're gonna be doing that every Wednesday during the Niners and NFL season. We talk about players that are hot, if you start or sit players. We talk about a lot of things. Los is very good at fantasy football. If you just want to hop on, get some advice, we if you ask a question in the chat, we answer the question to our best of abilities. So yeah,
there it is. There's the thumbnail for Wednesday night, guys.
That thumbnail also that's going to get changed.
Okay, it's going to get changed. But you know what, guys? As Boris said, Los knows about fantasy football. Been playing a long time. Stepped into the NorCal Sports Network Fantasy League last year. I took him down. I won the league, though. Not to pat my own back, but yeah, I'm going to pat my own back because I'm a retired fantasy ball player right now, and I went out on top, right? I'm like, who's the guy that got to go out on top that retired? Oh, Cliff, look at that. That's hilarious. Cliff, another member, says, I've listened to Bora and Los advice on fantasy, and I'm 0-5. Junior partners.
I think you were 0-4 before you asked.
I love it. Matthew says, after we won. Matthew, all the way from Atlanta, who knows his baseball. We partnered up to, let's just say we did okay. Cliff Martinez, a valiant showing in the fantasy NorCal Sports. I thought Cliff might win it. He was like you know what? To use a horse analogy, Lou.
Well,
he
I'm
came
actually
around. Cliff came on late and he left it all out. He passed everybody, and then he kind of didn't have enough.
He moved too soon.
Cliff moved too soon. He took over the lead, and I was like, oh my goodness. Cliff's coming out of nowhere. I'm going to go from 1st to 6th or 7th. And Cliff ended up finishing close, though. I think he finished third. Did he finish third? No. I don't know what Cliff finished.
And Dan, you might as well remind the chat on the Kentucky Derby day. I told everyone, bet against the favorite. Your brother wanted to kill me, and his buddy said there's no way this horse is going to lose. And we talked you into betting a horse called Mystic Dan, who won the race.
Yes.
So all these benefits of being members.
Yeah, we're gonna. When's the Breeders' Cup? November 1st?
1st and 2nd, yeah. So we'll probably have to do something that Tuesday, or maybe I'll do a show on the road.
Okay, on the fantasy show, Ryan Murdadian, also known as Kyle.
Hold on a second, Dan. Hold on a second. Wait.
Is that a way to we treat our paid chat members? We laugh at them. We call them. Mark says we need more Lou tips. Yeah, Lou knows his horse racing, and he knows his over unders. He picked the Giants twice this year. He took them under at 81.5, and then when they signed Snell and Chapman, not to be confused with Chapman Law Group, Lou took the 83.5 under. He double dipped. Way to go, Lou.
And I actually bet you and Ryan. I mean, I'll be right up front. Not only do we sometimes bet against ourselves for the Warriors over and
for the
under.
Warriors. Okay. And Lou also picked the Padres to win it all after I told him after they made trades and picked up relievers. I said, I like the Padres to win the whole thing. And he took it out. So right now they look like the best team in baseball.
Mm-hmm. Dan, I'll say my last.
He didn't get his chat. He didn't get his chat. Okay, Ryan, we're going to put that up for you. Look, Ryan, it's $1.99. That should stay up there longer. Okay, that one can hang out there in infamy. Okay, Kyle Kaminga, $10. You want that comment to stay up there a little longer, Ryan? Pay up, buddy.
Dan, I'll say my last piece, then I have to get out of here.
Right.
If and we haven't even talked about the playoffs today, but if you guys have watched the playoffs and you've watched Brandon Nimmo and you watched Kerry Carpenter today, his go-ahead home run, if you watched Starling Marte, I've talked about it before, the Mets know how to hit, and they know how to hit with runners in scoring position. They don't go all out for the home run. They shorten up, they take a shorter swing, and they just go the other way. They go where the pitch takes them. If it's an outside pitch, they go to right field or left field if you're Brandon Nimmo. If you watch Kerry Carpenter's swing today, it's not a big swing. It's not a big swing at all. It's a contact swing. He's not even trying to hit it out of the ballpark, but it's such a good swing and such a compact swing that he hit it 111 miles an hour. So you don't have to swing for the fences all the time if you're the San Francisco Giants and strike out almost half the time. You can go with the pitch. You can play situational baseball. You don't have to go all out for the big blast. Just play situational baseball. Lou, you mentioned Salvador Perez. He had like a 3-something batting average with runners in scoring position. I've Jose Iglesias with the Mets. I think he had a batting average over 300 with runners in scoring position. A lot of these teams and guys in the playoffs, they have a high batting average with runners in scoring position because they know they're clutch and they know how to professionally hit a baseball and they know how to situationally hit. It's not just home run, walk, strikeout.
You know, Bora, you brought up a great point, and I can't find it. I read it in the chat the other night, and I can't find my notes. Somebody put in the comments that you see that comment in there by, I think the Giants are better than Kansas City and Detroit. You see that? Oh, I found it. Okay.
Hear me.
Can you pull that comment up?
10-20.
Oh, there it is. Jeremy Lopez right there. Okay. Jeremy, here's what we got. Let me tell you the difference between the Giants and Kansas City. Detroit, the Giants could actually possibly be as good as Detroit, but they didn't come through when they needed to. So, but here's the difference between the Giants and Kansas City. Giants, I mean, the Royals have a couple of guys. Bobby Witt's probably a superstar, even though he's still young. And Salvador Perez they have as a a big hitter. But listen to the difference between the Giants and the Royals. The Giants struck out 1,452 times this year. Kansas City, 1,161. Just to give you an idea, San Diego, 1,077. Giants had almost 400 more strikeouts. 400, almost 400 more than the Padres. You want to know why the Padres are so much better? Stolen bases. Kansas City, 134. The Giants, 68.
68 with the new bases. They give you every advantage.
You had 177 to the Royals, 170. So why aren't the Giants winning? Batting average. Giants, 239. Kansas City, 248. On base percentage. Kansas City, 306. Giants, 305. Hits. 1343 for Kansas City, 1303. So where does the difference come from? Runners in scoring position batting average. Giants and Matt Chapman, not to be confused with Chapman Law Group, our sponsor, but Giants hit 234. You didn't hear this the other day, did you, Bora?
Mm-mm.
Did you hear it, Lou?
I can hear it. No, I haven't heard it yet, so I'm interested.
Did you hear it?
No.
Okay. Hold on here. Let's. There we go. We'll mute you for a minute while the siren gets out of there. Giants batting average with runners in scoring position, 234. Lou, did you hear the number the other night?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Take a guess what the Royals batting average is with runners in scoring position.
At least 20 up. So 250, 257.
What do you think, Bora?
280.
If I said Bora was correct or closer to being correct than you, but he was actually still under?
Under.
282.
282 runners in scoring position.
282, and the Giants 234. That's why the Royals are in the playoffs and the Giants are not. Right there. How about strikeouts with runners in scoring position? Giants 333. Royals 265.
70.
So almost 70. 68. Less strikeouts. And Chapman had about 40 of those.
Yeah, it seemed like it.
He did. No, he actually did.
Yeah, Dan, the other thing, too, is you got to remember, he thinks we're better than Kansas City. Do you remember the 5 ways the Giants did their walk-offs this year?
Mm-mm.
A bunt, pass ball,
Bases
a wild
loaded
pitch,
bases loaded walk, didn't they?
base loaded walk, and an error.
That's hilarious.
That was their 5 walk-offs.
That's real too, right?
Yeah.
So they didn't get one, or no, they did get one hit. I remember the Mark Canha hit.
Oh, well, that might have been the end of the season when we got eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't really count. Yeah, so, the problem with the Giants is, we had a lot of problems. And, one of the things we keep talking about is I'm excited. Yeah, we have Buster, but now everyone's had a week to think about it. A little overreaction. We still don't have a GM yet. The other thing is, and this is what Dan talked about before, is who do we have coming back next year? We talked about some players that had some horrible years. They might still have a year on the contract. The Giants aren't going to just dump a lot of salaries, and do we want these guys back? We're a fourth place team out of 5. Everybody else is going to be better next year too. Trust me. So I think it's just, one of those things.
Ryan says, look it up. Crazy. Conforto, half of Chapman's K's in runners in scoring position for the Conforto haters. Yeah, there's some guys out there that just don't understand baseball, Ryan. They just automatically hate on Conforto and think, he was useless. Conforto was a productive ball player for the Giants. He hit over 300 against lefties, yet they platooned him.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. I mean, just
he might have hit over 30 home runs if they had just played him every day.
Yaz was the one that struck out too much. Remember at one time Yaz struck out 1/3 of the time, and we were still like in September.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how things go next year. It's going to be, I expect them to. It'll be interesting if the Kansas City Royals upset the Yankees. They play on Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday and Thursday. So
if the Yankees lose to the Royals, that gives Juan Soto's chances of becoming a Giant just a little bit higher.
Yeah, what's going to happen if the Dodgers lose, which I expect them to? I picked the Padres. The Dodgers pitching is horrible. They've got Walker Buehler and Landon Knack set up for 3 and 4. I don't know who's going first, but
in a crazy environment.
Yeah, I expect the Padres to come out ready to blitz them. Dodgers are going to have to outslug them to win. If the Giants, if the Padres get by the Dodgers, what does that do for the Dodgers offseason? Does that make them even more ante up for okay, we got to go get a shortstop and we got to get 2 or 3 starters?
Probably, yeah. They don't. The thing is, though, it's not like they don't have the starters. Their starters are just injured. Like Kershaw is injured, Glasnow is injured. I think there was a picture of their rotation. I think
their whole starting rotation was on the DL at one point.
Gonsolin is injured. I don't. Who else is on in that rotation?
Yamamoto was in there.
Yamamoto was injured. He's back
for a while. Quite a while.
I don't know everybody off the top of my head, but also this is really the last thing that I have to jet. If you're the Giants, do not overpay someone like a Willy Adames just because you don't want the Dodgers to get him. You are if you were hand in hand and competing with the Dodgers every year, if you had 90 wins and the Dodgers had 95 this year, or however many wins they had, if you were competing with them and it was actually a rivalry and a competition between them and the Padres, then I'd say, you know what, that might be the difference and go do that. But the Giants and Dodgers and Padres and D-backs even are so far apart in terms of their actual team. It's not going to be worth overpaying a Willy Adames just to not have the Dodgers get Willy Adames or the Padres.
You can't be trying to go after guys at the Dodgers. You just got to build your team the way Brian Sabian built it.
Exactly. Don't be influenced by other teams.
Yeah. Brian Sabian knew how to build it with the right type of players, and he was able to put together a very solid team. Look, Giants won, 3 championships. Of course, Dieter was right the other night. He said the Giants won those championships in the dead ball era. There was not a lot of home runs being hit. And if we looked at the 2010 stats of MLB, it would be kind of interesting to see. I don't know what their best team was. You think it was 14 or 12?
12 probably.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see what the MLB stats were for that year. And let me just see if I can pull that up. I might be able
And
to.
then while you're doing that, are you aware in 2010, 12, and 14, every division of the playoffs, the Giants were only favored one time, one series. In 2014, they weren't favored in anything. 2012, I think it was nothing. Only 2010 in like the first round. That was it.
Let's
check
All right,
out-
I
check
have
home
to
then.
I have to jet, guys. So I'll see you
Thanks,
guys later.
Laura.
Yep.
Thanks for your time, buddy.
Always a pleasure talking with you guys. See you later.
All right,
Thank you.
good to see you, Bart.